Today, folks, unusually enough, we are celebrating from the backseat of my car as my stock portfolio just crossed over $200,000 for the very first time in my life. So I wanted to offer you guys some insights. We're going to be taking a look at the individual brokerage accounts, my favorite, most hyped stocks when we're talking about things like MyMed, my REITs, and then we're going to get into some stock news as well because Hyliion just had their merger acquisition vote, which was super exciting. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So in the clarity of my transparency, all I ask in return is that you hit that like button for me, helps the channel out. But nonetheless, let's jump right into this. Welcome back, my passive income investors alike, and I want to kick this off by first of all saying thank you. If it wasn't for the finance community here, if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, I don't know what I would have missed out on. You know, you guys are the ones that keep me motivated, keep me going, and I just can't say thanks enough for that. So we're going to be doing more celebration on Friday over at the Passive Income Educator YouTube channel because that's our live stream channel, and I also got one of these super hot gummies. We kind of have an inside joke going on over there where we keep eating spicy foods and then trying to talk about stocks. So this is 9,000 times hotter than a jalapeno. Not that that has anything to do with finance, but just something to look forward to, something quirky, fun. And I also got my handy dandy laptop here. So we're going to be going over all of these individual brokerage accounts first, and then we're going to get into some of this news here, folks. So just kicking this off, taking a look at my tax-free savings account today, guys. I can't get over the stock market right now. If you woke up this morning looking at anything, it was pretty much on fire. A little bit of a sell-off later into the afternoon here, but we'll see how the day finishes as things move on. But just taking a look, this account currently is worth $113,660. Not thanks to my Canadian stocks, of course. They're kind of just bouncing around. My RioCan, which I will touch base on a little bit later in this video, but where all the excitement always is, guys, is typically just in tech right now, even though most of the markets are up. But we're taking a look here. We got Apple, Microsoft really driving most of the portfolio as per usual here. They're finally having a little bit of a rebound, not a huge degree, but I mean, we're looking at Microsoft at 209. And then obviously where most of your attention is on MyMed, guys. It crossed over $1 today. I think it's holding over $1, but in this account, I'm up 87%. Wish I had more shares in here because this is the tax-free savings account. But let's just get through these accounts so we can get into some of the more exciting news. But taking a look at my managed account, guys, Facebook on fire today, back over 255. So first of all, congratulations to anybody that was buying those major dips that we just saw. Obviously, we don't know if there's going to be more dips in the future, but as soon as Facebook dipped below 250, I was telling you guys, super exciting buy prices there. And taking a look at MyMed, in this account, we are currently up about $1,600 or 55%. Oh my goodness, guys, just unbelievable with my RioCan position in this account, obviously being down about $500. But overall, this account's up almost $3,000, total value $21,726. And then moving into, obviously, my best performing account this year by a landslide is my RRSP, which just crossed all-time highs, being worth $40,700. And I mean, you can't trust the gains here because as I sell out of positions and move them around, the gains don't get calculated correctly when you do that because they kind of just wipe it out as you don't hold that capital gain anymore. But taking a look, guys, everything is on fire today. I was actually more excited about Pepsi stock this morning than I was pretty much about any of my other positions because Pepsi had a major rebound today. I mean, it was up something like 3 or 4%, which was one of my highest gainers. And just taking a look, because many of you know I recently just sold off Tesla and relocated those shares, which I'm super grateful for because it's offered more stability to this portfolio. But even still, like, Tesla's had a really good comeback today. Again, we don't know what the future is going to hold here. So just getting into my final account, the R to the B to the C, where things had just kicked right off. This account just crossed all-time highs. We're over $15,000. And again, primarily thanks to Facebook and MyMed. I really wished I could have picked up some more Facebook shares, but many of you know I've been getting way too excited about MyMed. So that is where most of my capital has gone. Now, I update these accounts every single Friday, folks. So some of you might be fairly familiar with these accounts as they stand today, but let's just talk about some of the stock news and then we'll get into some of the broader markets here. But let's just quickly kick this off by obviously talking about MyMed because there's some real similarities between this right now and obviously what is going on with Shill, because I've been kind of using MyMed as a catalyst against Compass Pathways, because Compass Pathways is obviously the first psychedelic company to get listed. And when I posted my video about this, a lot of you were saying that I was pumping the stock up. And this is the first time really as my channel has grown that I'm getting a lot of inflicting comments, people that are a little adverse to my opinion, saying I'm kind of like a pump and dumper behind this company. And a lot of this jargon going on, and I'm not going to get too much into those opinions. You guys can take my information as you please. I am just documenting my journey. And yeah, sometimes I'm not 100% accurate, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing. You don't have to do anything I'm doing. You guys are the ones that choose to watch the videos. You make your own decisions. I love Shill. I thought Shill was an incredible buy. I didn't buy into it though. Didn't fit into my portfolio. And speaking on that behalf, just taking a look at a Shill right now, folks, it has been holding relatively flat on the merger acquisition news since that happened this morning. I was watching the live stream over at JMac. He is the SPAC god in my opinion. So he had like 3,000 plus viewers watching that. And yes, it did get approved, but the stock isn't really doing a whole lot on that news. And I think people are underestimating exactly why we're buying into that news. It's not because it's just going to go up, because once these things finally get listed, guys, they're going to start showing up on all of the major exchanges. It's going to become very popular on StockTwits, but there's just so many people that don't want to get involved with these companies because there was no guarantee that the merger was going to go through. So, I mean, now that that's happened, once it gets listed under the new ticker symbol Hyliion, I highly recommend that you keep eyeballing it, because we might see really similar price action that we saw with Nikola, and we're already seeing that happen. And those are like the similarities between MindMed and Shill, because the only catalyst that we have to compare it to has been basically Nikola, the other truck manufacturer that is dealing with basically, the hydrogen electric hybrid trucks. And these are obviously some of the more speculative plays amongst the YouTubers that I personally follow. And yeah, I mean, everything here is super cranked up, guys. If these stocks get listed, if we can get MindMed listed now, it's going to be really just neat to see how this plays out. Now, a lot of people are asking me, should I sell out? Should I take some profit now? Because we are all up so much on some of these companies. And if I'm being honest, it purely comes down to your risk tolerance. I mean, if you've doubled your money in MindMed already, you don't want to have a risk of losing those capital gains. You don't want the risk. Yeah, go ahead and take some profits. But I told you guys, MindMed is my lottery ticket stock. The drug sector has been where most of my portfolio growth has truly come from in the past. I was chatting this morning with a lot of you guys in the WhatsApp group. A lot of you were saying, well, what was the most exciting milestones for you? And I honestly didn't really care about the first 100K. A lot of people think, that's the big step up. That's where your portfolio growth can really start expanding. Because obviously, if you can make 10 or 15% on 100K, you're looking at, $10,000 or $15,000 within a year. But I blew past that in the early days and didn't really think too much about it. But my most memorable moments were around $20,000 to $30,000, because back then I didn't hold a lot of positions and I was really involved in Canopy Growth Corp when it took off. Unfortunately, I sold out way too early after doubling or tripling my money. But even still, guys, that was like the big blow up. And that's when I started diversifying into dividend stocks. I was buying Apple, a little bit of Microsoft, a lot of these Canadian banks. And that is when my dividends crossed over $1,000 annually. And that was more exciting to me than obviously the capital growth, because at that point I'm like, holy crap, like we're getting into some really decent payments here. I mean, we're talking about almost a free vacation every year. We're talking about almost a rent payment. I mean, a free coffee plus, that's basically like a coffee every day for the rest of your life, and maybe a donut at Tim Hortons. I mean, that's pretty life-changing stuff in and of itself. Really beautiful stuff. But now that as soon as I hit 100K, it just kept going. And, the years have gone by. Many of you have watched my channel growth, because this year's just been insanely volatile, right? But I want you to imagine as well that I got to get a little bit more above 200K. In this moment, that is what I am managing. But, once we get taxes inflicted there, I have to buy a new car. Unfortunately, my beauty Charger here is going to be on its way out probably by winter or maybe the first month or two of next year. So I'm looking at new cars. That's going to set me back 6,000 or 7,000, but I'm a cheap, frugal bugger, not buying a new car, baby. We're buying some beautifully used stuff that's only going to last me a few years. But honestly, you save way more money buying used vehicles, right? So other than all of that crazy, exciting stuff here, guys, I only just recently got back into growth, because I was telling you guys, like, I was really dividend focused for the last 3 or 4 years of the portfolio until I started getting into Tesla stock last year. And obviously this year we've been talking a lot more about MindMed, right? But I'm glad that we are able to pick up some of these growth positions, because the drug industry is where my attention has been from the beginning of my portfolio, with Canopy and Northland Power being the first 2 stocks I ever bought. That's why I love MindMed, and that's why I'm going to be in this thing for the long haul. This is one of the only companies in the world where I can truly project out, if things actually fall through, that this company could turn a little bit of money into a substantial amount of wealth. Now, I will, however, be taking profits if this thing decides to get listed on the NASDAQ, because again, we're using that catalyst as Compass Pathways, which today is worth about $1.3 billion. And MindMed today has only really been worth about, 200 million, give or take. And I think that's in the Canadian dollar conversion. And when I say MindMed hit over $1, it hit over $1 on the Canadian exchange, because that's where I own the majority of my shares. But nonetheless, guys, we're going to be putting that aside. And coming up this week, I've got more exciting stuff. You guys have been recommending me do some super awesome comparisons. Now, I made a video that I think was a little underrated, but now a lot of you were really excited and said this was one of the best videos I ever made on my channel. And I'm glad that it got a pretty decent amount of attention, because I was actually got into the fundamentals of most of the analytics that I specifically look at, and I put them side by side on an Excel spreadsheet, and I broke down why I think Facebook has the best potential to be probably competing for the largest company in the world in the next 3 to 5 years. And a lot of you had a great response from that, and I got a recommendation today from Robert Barry, which has been somewhat of an OG to this channel, so I'm shutting you out there. And he says, can you compare RioCan versus O Realty Income, especially for the U.S. investors that have to pay tax? So tomorrow, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do the same analytical stuff that I did with Facebook versus Apple. I'm going to do the spreadsheet side-by-side comparison of all the analytics that I find super attractive about those companies, and I love both of them equally. Like, I've been debating on buying O Realty Income actually in my RSP with some of those Tesla profits, or maybe even using the dividends from Pepsi and Johnson & Johnson. I really love both of them equally. They're some of the best REITs in the world here, folks, and they are recession plays, essentially, or what do they call recovery plays. Those kind of sit in the basket of things, obviously, like your Carnival Cruises of the world, your Delta Airlines, all of your airlines, really your restaurant brands. But I truly think these things have a place in your portfolio, even though they've been holding down on the second fears of a shutdown. Canada here has been going into the second phase of another shutdown, trying to do like a modest version of it, which has caused a lot of disruption in those kind of stocks. But saying that they're going to have major cures coming online, a lot of these companies by December for probably people that are more afflicted by the virus, and then come the first quarter of next year, they're going to have it available for basically everybody. So that is super exciting news for the market. So if you can just hold on to these stocks, ride it out until we get into next year. It's why I'm holding them. I knew they were going to be volatile, and I've got RioCan set up on a drip. I got 25K sitting in RioCan, so I'm making a fairly large bet on this guy, and RioCan is paying out so much money right now, guys. Same with the financials, though. I mean, I'm loving the financials, especially the Canadian banks at the levels they're sitting at. A lot of you are attracted by the U.S. banks, so keep your eye out on that. But tomorrow, yes, we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison, so something to look forward to there. Now, finally, just taking a look at the overview of, the markets today, guys. Unbelievable, really. I mean, look at what is going on here, man. We were looking at futures this morning, and they were just up astronomically. I mean, you could throw friggin' a monkey at a dartboard, which is, if you're OG to the channel, you'll know what I'm referencing to there. Let me know in the comment section below if you know what I'm referencing there. But just going over everything, guys, right now, the only things really in the red are the MJ sector. We got like Carnival Cruises holding down a bit today. I mean, Delta Airlines is up 4%. I mean, looking at space, talking about some other SPAC stocks that merge, I mean, Virgin Galactic is up 21% today. And again, like I said, guys, it's a shame that the MJ sector is getting hit so hard, but I mean, the government screwed that up here in Canada. If you guys were buying into those, you didn't do your due diligence good enough, because I said that the day that pretty much things got legalized, the government really screwed their funnel up. There's just not enough demand for the supply they currently have because of the way they've been marketing it. Why not just adopt what the illegal market was, right? Like, there's so many dealers out there already. Let them apply for a license so they could buy from the distributors and the growers and allow them to sell to whoever they wanted. I mean, that was the way the whole black market has been. If you did that, you would have brought up the lower half of society, because let's be real, anybody that's dealing major amounts of those products illegally aren't obviously in the higher class of society. They're probably not the people buying stocks. And if they are, they're obviously going to be like bikers or some hardcore gang members. But I mean, the government really had an opportunity to give people that didn't have many other options a way of getting ahead in their lives. And they just completely slashed that out of the option. And now the illegal guys are still selling illegally. Still a lot of black market stuff going on, guys. So I would just be really cautious with the MJ markets. It's a shame how that worked out, and I feel really bad for investors, but you got to blame the government, guys. They really screwed that up. But overall, guys, yeah, congrats to everybody today. I mean, just look at these gains, like absolutely absurd. Obviously not saying things can't turn around. But yeah, today, bit of a celebration, guys. I'm really happy. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break this afternoon. I've been kind of digressing. That's why I kind of came out of my car today, because I have to live with people. I make a lot of racket at home, and it was just nice to get out. And again, just say thanks for everything. I mean, it really is because of you guys that I am sitting here where I am today, and I look forward to seeing how this YouTube channel grows and making more exciting videos coming forward and showing you guys the progression. Because you got to remember, at the beginning of the year, guys, I showed you when my accounts dropped $50,000. I mean, we almost hit 100K. I went from 130 to 150 all the way back down to 100K, in which now we just crossed over 200. My portfolio has done over $100,000 movement this year, and I could have never predicted it. I honestly thought this was going to be the most boring year ever, and it's turned out to be one of the most exciting of my life. So stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to chatting to you guys tomorrow.